I also think the absence of specific examples and anecdotes that could have been traced back to any one team, even if you can't trace it back to any one person, that didn't happen because of the Deion factor.
I would agree.
People were tiptoeing around Deion.
Definitely.
Look, Sean Payton's one of the greatest coaches of our generation. Great offensive mind, one of the greatest offensive minds ever. When he was asked the other night about whether he was surprised that Shedeur Sanders hadn't been drafted, he was like, hey, this guy's going to be in the league. You better watch out. This guy's going to have a chip on his shoulder. I know this guy's going to be good. And I heard from people saying, does he really believe that, or is he just in the same state with Deion and he's saying what he has to say? And, you know, they had an opportunity to draft him in round 4, and they didn't. At some point, we got first-round grade on this guy. We're going to take him in round 4. I remember when Bill Polian was trying to say 17 years after the fact, oh, hey, we had a first-round grade on Tom Brady. Well, why didn't you take him before pick number 199 if you had a first-round grade on him?
Yeah.
So,
right.
And Jerry Jones, over the top, explaining why he's convinced Shedeur Sanders is going to be acceptable, basing his opinion on the first time Deion Sanders was ever in a Dallas Cowboy locker room and how this guy's going to be great. And if anybody wants to call me and ask me, I'm going to tell them, well, why didn't you take him with a late-round pick? So I think some of this was we don't want Deion pissed at us. We don't want him taking shots at us. We don't want to have to worry about him. And if anything, we want to curry favor with him and have him on our good side. I think that's one of the reasons.
I think all of that. You're right. I think it is.
A lot of this happened.
Yes. Then you don't have an agent who can stick up for you behind the scenes and do some of that. And yeah, it became a lot of negativity. And a guy that
hey, first thing happened when his brother Shiloh didn't get drafted. He hired Drew Rosenhaus and he got him a contract with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, that's good for him. I know. I saw that. I saw Shiloh say, "Hey, Dad was my agent, but that ain't working out so well. So I got to hire somebody." That was pretty good. First off, brother of the year, Shedeur Sanders, one of the greatest brothers I've ever seen in my life, and the fact that he could be so unconcerned about himself and be that good to his older brother was absolutely phenomenal. And that was tough watching this weekend. I felt bad for Shedeur Sanders. Now, I know he made his bed in some of this stuff. And that's the one part I don't like. He handled it really well. He really did. Other than not taking a little bit of accountability and just going, wait, maybe I didn't do some of the right things in this process leading up to it and handle myself the right way. But as far as handling the disappointment of the weekend, he did an extremely good job with that. His reaction when he did get drafted was phenomenal as well. And everything he said up to that point has been really good. And I give him credit for that. I really do. And it was a tough situation as a dad who's about to be 45 years old. I don't want to see any kid have to do with that. That was public embarrassment. That was really tough on him, no doubt. He handled it well. But he does have to take a little accountability for why he was in that situation.
I agree with you, and I think the problem is this, and then we're going to get back to the Browns.
Yeah.
There's so many, as you can see, there's so many different things we could talk about today, and there's so many things we're excited about just because it stimulates the senses to try to understand this. I think the biggest problem was he treated the pre-draft process the way his dad did. And the problem is he's not as good as his dad. Think about the Giants example, right? What was the story Deion told several years ago about his experience with the Giants? He goes in to meet with him, and they drop the big binder in front of him with this long-ass test that they wanted him to take. And he said, where are you picking? We're picking at 18. I ain't got time for this. I'm out of here. You can't do that if you're not Deion Sanders.
Right.
There's only a small handful of raw, unmitigated, unquestionable talent that can have that attitude. And I think Shedeur tried to come to the draft process with Dad's attitude, but without Dad's skill.
Right. I would agree with that. You're right. And like, I think they thought, hey, we got it locked up, pick number 3, and our playing and everything we did should have done the talking for us. But as we know, there's more to that process. And you're drafting a quarterback, and there's a lot of boxes that need to be checked by organizations to make them feel comfortable about giving the keys to the organization. And yes, his talent was not elite enough. This wasn't like John Elway or somebody like that where it was just like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like that. That's what Deion Sanders was, to your point. It was like, oh my gosh, is he the fastest human I've ever seen in my life? Oh my gosh, is he the best punt returner I've ever seen in my life? Oh my gosh, damn, does he have the best ball skills out of any DB I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he was a slam dunk. We knew he was going to be a star. And, yeah, it does feel like that. I would agree with you, Mike. It does feel like he had that same kind of approach.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.